Hey guys, so our intro to parallel lines in a transversal. So naming our parallel lines, we need to have two parallel lines. So this line and this line are parallel. So then our named parallel lines would be line M and line N. Name the transversal. So those two parallel lines are cut by the transversal, which is line P. So the transversal is P. And at the top of your paper, it says, remember supplementary angles? So supplementary angles are two angles that equal 180 degrees. And it doesn't pertain to this, but just as a reminder for vocabulary, complementary angles are equal to 90. So complementary equals 90 degrees, supplementary equals 180 degrees. Just to throw back on some vocabulary. Supplementary is all we're going to use for this. So that's the one you want to make sure that you remember. Supplementary is equal to 180. There's some, so when we add them together. All right, so we're going to talk about the placement of this 1 through 8, numbered 1 through 8, all these 8 angles. So vertical angles would be 1 and 4. So angle 1 and angle 4 are vertical angles. 2 and 3, angle 2 and angle 3 are vertical angles. It's kind of hard to read, sorry. Angle 2 and angle 3. And then we have 5 and 8. So angle 5 and angle 8 are vertical as well. And then last but not least, 6 and 7. So angle 6 and angle 7 are vertical. And that means that we know that all of these pairs are congruent. So all of those pairs are congruent. That means 1 and 4 are going to be the same. 2 and 3 are going to be the same. 6 and 7, 5 and 8. So all of these pairs are going to be the same angle measure if one was given. Now, alternate interior angles. So interior are referring to inside the parallel lines. So anything that says interior, we're talking about inside the parallel line. So interior is inside parallel lines. And then alternate, that is referring to the transversal. So alternate means from side to side, and this is referring to that transversal. So alternating along this line. So that means they're not going to be on the same side. They're going to be on opposite sides. So if we're naming our alternate interior angles, so we're going to highlight those. That's going to be 3. The yellow might not. Nope, doesn't show up. So we're going to try a different color. So 3 and 6. And again, the inside part helps a little bit because you know it's either 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then how they pair up. And then 4 and 5. Angle 4 and angle 5. And those are congruent again. So alternate interior angles are also congruent, which means they're going to be equal to each other. Congruent. All right, moving right along to number 5. So alternate still meeting along the transversal. So alternate meeting along that transversal. So on either side of this line. Exterior means it's going to be on the outside of the parallel lines. So out here, this is your exterior area. So exterior is outside of the parallel lines. So that means I have 1, 2, 7, and 8 to choose from. So 1, 2, 7, and 8 to choose from. So I have 1, and then it's going to alternate, which means it's going to be angle 8. So angle 1 and angle 8. And again, I just picked a color you can't see. Sorry. Angle 1 and angle 8 are alternate exterior. And then angle 2 and angle 7 are alternate exterior angles. And those are also congruent And you can think of it because they're alternate interior angles, but it all makes sense because if 3 and 6 are the same, then 3 and 2 are vertical angles, and 6 and 7 are vertical angles. So this is one of those things that you could, if I said, how do you know, or explain to me how you got that measure, you could answer it more than one way, depending on which number they gave you and how you figure that out. All right, so corresponding angles is going to mean it's on the same side of the transversal. So this is transversal again. Same side. And then one's going to be outside and one's going to be inside. It's as if you cut these two X's right down the center with a pair of scissors, and you were on tracing paper or patty paper, and this dot is going to line up to this dot. So we're going to have 4 sets again because there's 4 angles for each set, each parallel line, and this transversal has 4. So 2, if I picked it up and put it on top of the other one, it's going to sit down on 6. So angle 2 and angle 6. Then I have 4 and 8. Pick up 4 and sit it on top, it's going to sit on 8. So 4 and angle 8. Then I have 1 and 5. So 1 and 5. I can move that a little. Yep. Angle 1 and angle 5. And then last but not least, angle 3 and angle 7. If I pick up that top set and sit it on top, 3 is going to be sitting on top of 7. So angle 3 and angle 7. And again, these pairs, that one's hard to read, 3 and 7 are again congruent. So these are congruent to each other. Each pair is congruent to, like 2 will be the same as 6, 4 the same as 8, 1 the same as 5, and 3 the same as 7. All right, we have 2 more rules to remember. And I lost the page, so we need 7 and 8. It's out of order. Sorry, guys. There it is. So 7. So same side interior. So again, we're thinking inside the parallel lines. So that interior is inside the parallel lines. Same side is referring to your transversal. So that means we're inside here. So we're dealing with these numbers only. And we're staying on one side of our transversal. So with that said, that means we have 3 and 5. So angle 3 and angle 5. And then we also have angle 4 and angle 6. Now, these are different. So these are not congruent. These are supplementary. And supplementary, remember, means that if we add them together, they're going to equal 180 degrees. The sum of 3 and 5 will equal 180 degrees. And the sum of 4 and 6 will equal 180 degrees. Then same side exterior. So same side still referring to your transversal. Exterior being on the outside of those 2 parallel lines. It's going to be on the same side of your transversal. So thinking about this line. So we're using 1, 2, 7, and 8. So 1 and 7, angle 1 and angle 7. So exterior being on outside, same side of the transversal. And then 2 and 8. And again, these are not congruent because 2 is the same as 3, 6 is the same as 7. So 2 and 6 are the same because they're corresponding. So that means 2 and 8 can't be the same because 6 and 8 are a linear pair. So these again are supplementary, which means if I add them together, so their sum equals 180 degrees. Now remember, 2 and 4 are a linear pair. 1 and 2 are a linear pair. 1 and 3 are a linear pair. And 3 and 4 are a linear pair. So 1 and 2, if I add them together, should give me 180. So they're also supplementary. 2 and 4, if I add them together, should give me 180. 4 and 3, if I add them together, should give me 180. And 1 and 3, if I add them together, should give me 180. And the same thing works at the bottom. So 5 plus 6 equals 180. 6 plus 8 equals 180. 8 plus 7 equals 180. And 7 plus 5 equals 180. All right, guys, there's your intro to all of the locations. I believe you should have had a brief introduction to this in 8th grade, but take good notes. And this shouldn't be too hard.